following the format of international discussion initiated by volunteers from the Creative Society project. This initiative followed the unprecedented event that happened on the 7th of May, 2022. The International Forum, Global Crisis, We Are People, We Want to Live, who took place. It was streamed on thousands of platforms and simultaneously interpreted into 100 languages. The wave of crucial information started on that day, thanks to the hard work of hundreds of volunteers, driven to one goal and one goal only, to bring back the truth to people. It is simply the most important initiative for mankind and the future of our civilization, spreading the truth and making people aware of what we are facing now is, and in the near future, as well as what we can do about it, which is the most important thing. So, talking about action, dear viewers, you are invited to take part of those international discussions. So please, if you watch the forums already, you can write to the official email info@creativesociety.com, because now it's time for everyone to speak up.
Thank you. Many people all over the world see that the current format of relationships in our society is not working out for 99% of the population. Threat of mega inflation, really low salary jobs, unaffordable healthcare, the terrible situation with refugees, and other issues, division, violence, wars. And also there is a climate crisis that is claiming to take millions of lives. You might be thinking that you cannot do anything about it. But today, during this international discussion, we'll speak about the simple solution to all our problems. And I'm honored to introduce our guest for today's discussion. It's Wangira Samson, pastor from Uganda. Syntiha Abito, CEO and co-founder of Pocket Education Africa from Uganda. And Gerald, Kasiita, founder and CEO of Vibrant Generation from Uganda. Welcome, dear guests. So now we would like to ask Syntiha Abito, can you please share your impressions about the forum? What have touched you the most?
Yeah, so when I went through when I was invited to join the Creative Society, I went through what stood out really was the 8 foundations of human life, safety, equality, and knowing that there's a group of community or group of people that have the same expression, that want to see change in the globe, first, created a great impact and compelled me to be part of the global movement. So, and also knowing that they are advocating for justice, equality, access to technology, education, and all the refugees, all the instabilities and the unfairness that is happening in our world today is not fair. So being part of the Creative Society, I believe that it's a combination of all voices that we will achieve a lot working together. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answer. It's indeed a combination of all voices that we heard during the conference on the 7th of May on so many different topics, and you mentioned some of them, indeed, very important topics. Thank you for your answer. Now, the same question for you, Gerald. What is that you learned, maybe something that you were not aware before, that you learned in this conference, or what touched you the most during this forum?
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, I would like to say a unified voice to solve the problems we are facing as a globe is something which really inspired me to join the creative society. You know, when each one of us takes the action, each one of us plays their role in fighting these injustices, I hope we can build this creative society. And I'm really taken up by those, the fundamentals, the 8 foundations of the society, and as well as, you know, the information, giving out information to people, letting them know about the different challenges they're really facing in the community, and how really we can join together as one to come up with solutions, practical solutions to save our planet. For example, the climate crisis. I'm really so touched by the way we are facing that we are going through the climate catastrophe. And I believe if each one of us takes the action to play their role, I think we can curb some of these challenges. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. And exactly these challenges, we can really deal with everything, but only together. And one of the important moments that we can see right now, that there are really a lot of issues. Some of them people really aware of, some of them are hidden. And sometimes people perceive a real issue as a normality. For example, credits, loans, or something that you can take money for and then give it back with some percent, with some more money. And let's now watch a video that will show us how it's working and what will happen next.
The credit needle. Heavy financial dependence which the whole world has been forcibly hooked on. In 2020, the global debt was $226 trillion. This is 2.5 times more than the total world income. Our debts are already more than we can pay, but they keep on growing. Most nations are in credit bondage, but in the end, all these debts fall on people's shoulders. The national debt per person is $84,000 in the USA, $44,000 in France, $49,000 in Italy, $95,000 in Japan. In our society, everyone is a hostage of the financial and credit system from the birth. Did you know that? These debts have the effect of raising the price of everything you buy. You're no longer paying more for the goods themselves, but you're paying more interest back to the global banking system. And do you agree with that? Rising prices force us to borrow over and over again. Every one of us has been made a credit slave. But you're not a slave to the consumer format. You are a man of the creative society. A creative society means guaranteed high wages and full social security. It is zeroing out the foreign debts of all countries and writing off loans to people. Connect to the international online forum, Global Crisis, We Are People, We Want to Live, on May 7th, 2022. Share this video, repost it.
So, as we saw, credits is really one of the issue of the consumer format of society. And this video really illustrates some very impressive and scary number that people might not really comprehend or understand, but clearly established into this video. And it helps us to really understand the way that we cannot go forward in this system. There is no way we can reimburse those credits, so the system is not working well. And of course, a solution has been mentioned into this video, which is the creative society, which is what we are here for. what we are trying to build concretely. So what I wanted to do is to give a little bit of an explanation about this creative society. Creative society is basically a society that has been voiced by millions of people all around the world. It took us roughly 10 years to really conduct millions and millions of interviews to be able to really comprehend what are the people want for the future. What is that society that they want to live in? And it's not something that one person created for the rest of humanity. It's really what humanity created for itself. So I wanted to go through the 8th foundation that build this creative society and to really emphasize about all of their importance. So a human is the fundamental unit of society. Humanity is one big family. That's what is creative society. The first foundation is about human life and the fact that it's the highest value. It has to be the highest value. There is no way around. The second foundation is the human freedom. Every human is born with the right to be a human being. Human safety, obviously making sure that in this society, every human is safe to be living in. Transparency and openness of information for all. There is no way the society can be working if that information is not transparent to everybody and at any time. The creative ideology, it's another creative society foundation, as well as the development of personality. The 7th foundation is the justice and equality, and finally the self-governing society. So having re-emphasized about the different foundation of the creative society, I wanted to ask the second question of this discussion to my first guest, Syntiha. What is this structure that we're currently living make you think of, and how do you think we can solve the issue of credit as an example of the problem that we are currently facing?
Okay. Thank you for the question. First of all, I think our world has been divided into two. We have the elite, or the ones that really have something, and then we have what we call maybe the unprivileged that don't have the same equal opportunities that we all have. And the division between the two has brought a lot of diversity in our societies, in terms of other people struggling to get access to quality education or clean water, development, equal opportunities in technology. So those differences cause a lot of frictions. The issue of hunger, where we demolished almost all our forests and polluting all our water bodies, and at the same time, we depend on, the world is like an ecosystem where we all depend on each other. So such differences has, I think that the creative society has, and all the voices that come together will be able to solve all these issues. When you talk about credit in my country, people's properties are being taken. But why? Because of high rates of poverty. People want to boost their livelihoods. Then they will give them offers that, when you take this loan, then you get this. But at the same time, there's no, they don't educate them, first of all, but they bring this to you and tell you, if you borrow money, then you can pay back with an interest. But then you don't even have the resources or the jobs to be able to allow you to pay those loans. So then you end up still going back to poverty, getting back to lack. So how do we solve the issue of credit? Like creating safe spaces, especially that boost agriculture. There are very many different formats of nowadays that technology has brought different ways of growing or farming. Like I know about permaculture, where you can grow in small spaces, that we don't really have to rely on credit. We can have self-sustaining communities where you can have access to clean water, you can, processing, add value to the agricultural products, like creating different different products and services that can allow people to self-sustain themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it's really, I'd like what you said, that we can solve all these issues together, because really with united human potential, with united resources, we will be able as a whole united humanity overcome all the difficulties that people right now have in different countries locally. Because it's easy, like from global perspective, we just need to unite. And I would like also ask Pastor Wangira Samson, can you please share your impressions about the forum? What impressed you the most? What do you remember from the forums?
Thank you very much. First of all, before I go to the point of interest in question, when you look at the society, first of all, is so helpful that it will have one major impact of information giving, because besides this that we are going to discuss about today about loan slavery, what is more important is the information. And when I looked at this creative society, I loved it so much because it's going to open up the minds of the many people. Because people are, just like the Bible says, that my people are perishing because they lack knowledge. So I want to appreciate us so much for this creative society. I have loved it. For one, I feel the information is going to reach the far, and so it's going to redeem a number of people. So I want to appreciate us so much, and I pray that God will guide us through as we continue until when the major goal will be achieved and will come to pass. Because, living is one's welfare. Are you able to get...
I'm sorry, Pastor, please continue. I think we have turned off your camera because your sound quality was not so good. Now we at least can hear you, so we'll put photo.
So I was speaking about the problems that are the major challenges, especially affecting people who are suffering from loan slavery, having loans here and there. The standard of living is poor simply because loans alone make somebody pissed off. You don't feel comfortable. You don't feel worthy because wherever you look, you see fear. There's fear because everywhere they're demanding. So people are living under poor standard of living simply because of loan slavery. And when the poor standard of living is experienced, automatically the cost of living becomes high. Because look at the situation where you cannot afford having soap, you cannot afford having shelter, you cannot afford having clothing. You realize that the cost of living is high, even when things are cheap, because now the level of poverty, you are at zero. Still under loan slavery, we are seeing family breakdown. We are seeing families are breaking down, marriages are breaking down, because where there's loans everywhere, it means the poverty level is really rising, is really high. And so when you cannot afford the necessities in the family, we see now a family is breaking up. In Africa, somebody gets a loan, pays school fees using a loan, and then has no source of income to repay that loan back, and again continues paying fees for the same children. So at the end of the day, we register a big number of school dropouts being a problem as a result of loan slavery. And then look at also loss of property and business. You see, in Africa, for example, in Uganda, when you have to get a loan, let it be from the bank or any kind of money or financial institution, they need what we call security. So in most cases, you put in the security of land or a house or a business. So in case you fail to repay, then automatically they will come and take over your land, your house, or your property. So people are losing a lot simply because of having loans here and there. Yeah. Now, some other challenge also, people lose status. Where you were moving as a, like now us, like me, a pastor, where you're moving as a servant of God, you speak to people. Now, assuming the people you're pastoring in the church are people who are demanding you. you begin thinking small, you see? You lose the status. People stop respecting you. And yourself, you can even lose self-esteem. You feel really you are not worth it. So that's another problem. And so look at also loss of friends. If people who are lending you, people who are demanding you, have been your friends for a long time, what if you fail to pay them? Automatically, you're going to lose them. Hence, a problem. However, I also wanted to briefly talk about what could be the solutions to this. As my colleague spoke about diversification of sectors, for example, going agriculture. When you go agriculture, one, you will produce food for feeding of your family. That's a solution. And then you can sell the surplus that can help you buy like clothes, have shelter, medication, partly education. So that's one of the solutions. And then the major solution, according to me, is first of all identifying why and how was. You identify how you entered into it. You realize that some people enter into loans just by group influence or family influence. Because you want to please your wife, you end up going for a loan to buy better clothes for her, buy a car. So if you can identify the major cause, the cause as to why you entered into loans, once you realize it, you cannot begin dealing with it step by step. And then point number 3, accept to use the available resources to repay the loan you have. Agree with those people who are demanding you instead of borrowing another loan to pay the other one. Be free with them, share with them, and accept to use the smaller resources you have, pay them step by step slowly, and one time you'll get there. And then also lastly, it's better for one to decide not to go for unnecessary loans again. Yeah. So briefly, I want to say thank you. However, as I finish up, I was noting something small down about the causes of loan slavery. Why do people go for these loans? In the summary, one I said, peer pressure, bad peer pressure. This could be family or friends. You look at people driving, you don't know how they earn their money, you don't know how they get their income. You also go because others are driving, because others are eating well. You force yourself to raise the standard. That's one of the causes in Africa, because now I live in Africa. I know what's happening in Africa, like in Uganda. And then to excitement. When you get some money at once, you put it into a bigger investment where it is not enough. Now you look at the project you have started, it is incomplete and the money is over. So people end up going into loans, assuming they will accomplish the project and maybe gain a way of paying back. At the end of the day, they fail to pay back. And then also, we have expectations. You look at what's happening in the world, you say, I expect by next year, this season to have given me a lot of money. So you go and borrow, expecting the garden, for example, to give you a big harvest. And if all goes on wrong, maybe hailstorm and weather changes, when the season becomes poor, you fail to pay the other loan. And then also competition for standard of living. And this one has seriously disturbed the youths and also the women. They want so much to raise the standard, to be at a standard of other people. Somebody of 20 years wants to be at a standard of somebody of 40 years, not seeing the difference, ending up going into loans to dress well, feed well, move well. A misuse of loan money is also yet another problem. You have got a loan, how are you spending that money? If you get a loan, are you spending this money, investing it where it will produce more money to pay the loan and you get a profit. Now, people are not looking at that. People are just getting loans to go and marry. People are getting loans to make powerful businesses. People are getting loans to go for outing. People are getting loans to go for leisure. People are getting loans to drive and see. So misuse of loan money has tied people in loan slavery. Finally, poor business record taking and keeping. People are running businesses without clear recording. So they can't tell whether they are making profits or losses. I think for now, let me end there. And I want to say thank you very much for listening to all that I've been sharing. God bless us as we continue.
Great. Thank you very much for your very detailed answer on the topic of credit slavery. And we can think about two different pieces here, really about, first of all, a structure, the consumer format of society, that is the financial structure that allowed this to happen, that is completely not fitting with the idea of a sustainable society. And the other part also is the behavior that you mentioned about people and the way they appreciate money and the way they use money that is not aligned with what a society, a successful society should look like. So it's really on different parts of the spectrum that this issue is very affecting everybody. And by opposition, we can see really how the creative society and the foundation that we talked about could help putting the human as the center of the main value rather than having money, which is exactly what you described. So thank you very much once again for your detailed answer. Let me turn myself to our third guest now and asking also the question on that topic. Gerald, can you tell us a little bit more about your vision or your understanding about how this issue affects a lot of people on this earth, and maybe how could be the best way to solve it?
Yeah, thank you very much. And specifically, I can begin in Uganda recently. There was about, when we realized that about 70, we are in debt of about 73 trillion. And so sometimes some of these debts, they bring us into slavery in that we cannot make our own decisions, especially to the one who is giving you the money. You realize that you cannot really develop any further. And most of the times, when you take up these debts, unless, as my friends have really mentioned most of the things I could say, I just really want to emphasize that for us to control the amount or the debts before we take up the debts, we need to really look at why are we really taking it up. And also, as a creative society, how best, what opportunities can we really provide so that at least as we provide these opportunities, they can be able to help people have a sustainable living. And you realize that African countries, most of them are depending fossil fuel dependent countries. And therefore, when they are more or depending on the fossil fuels, and these are part of the things which are leading to the climate crisis. And where we have the climate crisis, you realize that even the harvest, the water we take, and the food insecurity, the peace and stability are all entangled. So therefore, this is going to lead us into the different other debts. It's going to, because we cannot be able to sustain ourselves, we are going to go into debts. And as a result of these debts, they're going to lag us behind, and we cannot continue to function properly well. So some of the things I think we can think of, how else can we have decent opportunities, especially in this case, maybe for the young people, for the old people, what alternatives can we really have for them at least to have a sustainable future, so at least we can be able to eliminate some of these debts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's really a very great question. How we can really afford things, especially when we are, for example, young and we have a lot of ideas, a lot of energy to do something best and good for the whole humanity. I remember myself in this time when you are young and you're really thinking globally, you want to really contribute a lot. But our consumerist format just cut these hopes down because of different relationships, because of different systems, conditions. They just not allow people to implement their good intentions into real actions. And, this question is really important because we see that our technological progress is really spread right now. We see a lot of advances, we see many developments. But I have a question. Where are they? Why we are not seeing it implemented in our life? Why people who are still become refugees, they still live in small houses, or you cannot even call this houses. And I invite you, dear viewers, to watch a detailed video about that.
In our civilized world, hundreds of millions of people are homeless. People live on the streets like stray dogs. And billions of people in the world survive in terrible conditions. This number is increased by dozens of millions of refugees every year. As climatic disasters escalate, the number of people left homeless will grow rapidly. The afflicted people are forgotten by everybody. They continue to live without assistance in harsh, inhumane conditions, months and even years after natural disasters. And how does that apply to me, you might ask? Directly. In cruel conditions of the consumerist format and the growing climate crisis, you have only two choices. Either you stay on the street or those left homeless come into your home. Why are we allowing this to happen if we have modern technology? After all, there are already solutions in place that can expeditiously provide people with housing. At the beginning of the epidemic in Wuhan, China was able to build a hospital having 1,000 beds in just 10 days, using modular construction technology. A few days later, the building of the second hospital was finished. The construction process could be watched live on TV. Earlier, back in the year 2003, a similar hospital for the treatment of SARS was built in Beijing within only 7 days. In India, a building record was broken in 2012 for a seismically stable 10-story building within 48 hours. And in the year 2021, in China, a 10-story house was erected within only 28 hours and 45 minutes. Small, self-contained modular units had been prefabricated at the factory. After the basic structure was assembled, the specialists installed water and electricity in the building. The high-rise building was finished, fully furnished. In the portfolio of Chinese developers, there is experience of building a 30-story, 5-star hotel within 15 days and a 57-story skyscraper within 19 days. It's been 4 years now that there's a technology for the production of folding houses. The assembly line produces folding structures of about 35 square meters, and they take only 48 minutes to assemble. Not hours, minutes. The owner only needs to bring a sofa in because plumbing, kitchen furniture, and appliances are already included in the package. The houses are fireproof, frostproof, waterproof, and resistant to hurricane-strength winds. 3D printing technology allows, in just 1 to 2 days, to build houses of different sizes and a number of stories. The houses are affordable and take only a few weeks to be ready for accommodation. In order to print walls, a 3D printer can use the building materials of the area in which it operates. Those include concrete mix, sand, stone, and even volcanic ash. The houses are earthquake resistant. Back in the year 2014, a Chinese company presented houses built with the help of 3D printing technology at a cost of just a little over £3,000 sterling. A year later, it improved the technology and printed a 5-story house. Such technology could provide housing for all people while preserving their lives and health. But in a consumer society, the first question is not how to save your life, but how to make money off that. In the consumerist format of society, you are left alone with your problems. In fact, nobody cares about you. It's time to change from the consumer society to the creative one. In the creative society, the life of each person is important. Human life is its base and foundation. That is why technology is used for the sake of life, but not for the sake of profit. And technology is aimed exclusively at improving the quality of human life. As you can see, the technologies that can provide every person with a home already exist, but the conditions of the consumerist format do not allow their implementation. So, the only thing that can be done is to change the format to a creative one, because the creative society guarantees security for each person and therefore provides people with quality and comfortable housing. Tell everyone about this, and then we will quickly build the creative society.
As for me, it's a really great visualization, like a great example, how exactly one can implement everything in creative society when we have not only ideas, but also resources to implement it. And that's a really great illustration. What are the differences between the consumerist format and the creative one? And together in the creative society, we can implement all of it and solve all of our issues and problems. Of course, when you just hear about it, you might have a lot of questions. How we can do that, how it will be possible, and it's clear. So I would like to ask you, please write your questions to our email or to our social media accounts, and we will be happy to make a question and answers section in one of our international discussion. We'll be happy to respond to most of the popular questions.
Thank you. So moving on into the international discussion that we are in, I would like to continue on the topic. We just watched a video that really re-emphasized the issue of justice and equality, where not everybody can afford a house and not everybody can basically live properly, which is a really issue in this consumer format of society. As mentioned earlier, the creative society is focusing on 8 foundations, and one specific foundation of this society is about justice and equality. It's the 7th foundation. All natural resources belong to humans and are fairly distributed among all people. Monopolization of resources and their irrational use is prohibited. The resources are fairly distributed among the citizens of the entire earth. A human is guaranteed employment if or she desires, pay for identical position, specification, or professional should be the same all over the world. Everyone has the right to private property and income, however, within the limits of the individual capitalization amount set by the society. So, overall, referring to the equality and justice, my next question will go to Syntiha. How do you think technology might help us improving life of millions of people looking at the creative society?
Thank you for the question. First of all, I would like to talk about my experience. At least I've got a privilege to interact and be among refugees. And seeing the life in the refugee camps is really devastating. First of all, people have lost their properties, they've lost their assets, they've lost their loved ones, and you see billions of money being donated to refugees for fundraising and all that, but then they're still kept in the same place where you find communities like young people resorting to crime. And at the same time, I saw in the video that like even if you think you're safe, you're not safe, because there'll be demand. They also want to survive. They also want to live. So they will still come to you and hunt for you. Or climate change will come and hunt for you. So those devastating, seeing people homeless, young children not having an education because of being a refugee, being in the war and the crisis. So technology, I believe, can bring great solutions to us. First of all, in terms of like the pandemic totally distorted the world and everything was destroyed, like people's livestock, people's livelihoods, people's businesses collapsed, people lost their loved ones. But with technology, we are able to, right now we are talking about the creative society because the technology has made it available. Why is it not accessible to everyone? There are 3D printers. We've been seeing the video where housing can be built in a week. Why is it that there are people that are still homeless and have nowhere to stay? So technology should be equally distributed among the community and easily accessible. Like for us here in Africa, we struggle. Like you have to get in connection, even on like accessing the internet, you have to buy it, the consumer format, you have to buy your internet. Like you have to, my kids study online, you have to pay for that. Why? But these are solutions, technology that was designed to make our lives easy, that can make us, make us flourish, make us change our living. But why is it that we still have to pay for such things? So technology has come. Today there is medicine, the vaccine for corona, for instance, or cholera, or we hear that even there's medicine that cures HIV, but some people don't have access to it. So why is it that we are having all these injustices, unequal distribution, of resources, of technology? So I believe with technology, we'll be able to handle the issue of hunger, first of all, homelessness in our societies. We'll have equal quality, accessible education systems in our societies when we equally use the technology that we've been given. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. It really should not be the case in a normal society that people without money, without funds, will just die out. It's how can we even call our society civilized if it's happening when the money are in the first place? Why is it so? It's really like a good question that one can consider when he or she sees this inequality. Can we as humanity just do it in a different way, in a normal way, in a human way? Really good questions to ask yourself. And our next question is for Gerald. Kasiita, can you please share your view on the ways, or technical or maybe some others, to equality and justice in the society?
Wow, thank you very much. To bring equality and justice in our society, I think, first of all, we could also look at ourselves as one individual, because we realize we are having a bigger difference between one another. You find the rich are very rich and the poor are very poor. So in this perspective, if at all each one of us considers themselves as unequal to the other, then I think we can have that equality. because looking at an instance of, for example, here in Uganda or in Africa, you find out that we have there's some opportunities which are like almost only for maybe the well-off, I can say. And if at all, if we are to consider equality, at least we need to balance up, develop the same way we develop the towns, let it be the same way we can also be able to provide the same services to the rural areas. So that at least, because we realize that even in the rural areas, that's where we're having the largest population of people in the rural areas. And especially these rural areas, these people are more dependent on farming. So as they're dependent on farming, and that means our livelihood, everything relies on farming. So that means to ensure the equality, we have to ensure that we balance up, give these people in the rural areas opportunities. Let them go to school. Let's have a position, good schools, a position, good roads, for them at least to be able to access some of these services. Unless we pay heed and see how best we can ensure that we can have each of us having equal rights, having equal ways of utilizing everything at our disposal, not just only a few individuals are taking over everything. You know, sometimes you find out that there is monopoly in some of the things. We find out that it's only a specific target of people who are only given the opportunity to use some of those resources, which makes everything difficult. But as a creative society, I believe we think of connecting people, giving them the right information, and letting them know that, you know what, each one of us is so important, and each of us has got the ability for everyone to be able to air out their views, for everyone to share, to be able to speak up. Because most of the times what is hindering the equality and the justice is when you keep quiet. You find that you're passing through, we've experienced a lot of domestic violence during this pandemic. And ladies could not be given the opportunity to speak up. And also young children. There have been a lot of child abuse, child neglect in the pandemic, and realize that some of these issues we've kept quiet on them. Unless we create a system which is open, free for everyone to speak out their mind, to be able to interact with others, to live to think as every one of us, to think as if we are all in the same level, so that there is no divisions among us. Because if we have a unified voice, if we speak the same language, despite regardless of the different cultures and traditions, but if we come together as one, we can be able to fight some of these things. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. And I will really want to reemphasize on what you just said regarding the way to bring equality and justice is in the way we can bring the voice to everybody. And at the moment, if equality is not applicable in many countries, it's actually because not everybody is equal to be able to voice what they think, to be able to work together and unite. And that's really, really, really important. And that's what exactly the creative society is here for. It's not even about freedom of speech. It's not about being able to talk about one thing or another. We hear freedom of speech a lot, but here it's about just the freedom of being able to talk at all. That is very important to have for every single person on earth. And to bring that, technology can definitely help, and innovation can bring that voice to people in order to really work together and create that creative society. So thank you very much for emphasizing on that very crucial point, because it is very important that nobody on earth should be viewed differently regarding to where they are from, and their ability to actually speak. A platform, as you mentioned, should be provided to all, and everybody should be able to voice what they want for the future. Thank you very much. I wanted to now ask the same question regarding the idea of usage of technology to improve justice and equality in our society. Pastor, could you answer us what you think about this idea of using technology to improve our society?
Using technology to improve, point number one, it's if the technology gadgets can be accessed, if they can be accessible to the community, because remember, we have the urban and we have the rural. You find that now, for example, I'm in Uganda, Bugiri town. This is in a town, eastern part of Uganda, the country. But network is a problem. So I think before looking at if the technology can help to bring equality and justice, but now we need to assume if the community can really access. Now, if the community can access this technology, then it will cause a great positive change. For example, making awareness of the community, of the public. For example, when you look at the creative society, to some of us who are now connected, we are already getting the information, we are being informed, and really we are seeing there's hope and future. So I think if the community all around can have access, then the community members they will achieve through information giving. If we give the information, people will begin thinking positive, because I want to let us know that we have people in this world who feel negative of themselves. They think they can never be better off than they are. And so I think information giving is so profound when it comes to how to help the community. And then point number two, through information giving, people who have the knowledge of how things are done. I don't know whether I've answered well. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. And exactly, technology is allowing us to do really a lot of fun on our current society, and it's also a way of communication, of spreading the information, spreading the ideas. And most importantly for all of us right now is to spread information about the creative society. Spread that we have a solution, we have a way out of these thousands of crises that we see in all of the areas. And it's really also important to talk about how can we share and what can we do. So maybe I would like to ask Gerald, Kasiita, can you please share how one can just share this information about creative society? What shall one do, or can you please elaborate on that?
Okay, I think one way how we can really share this information, maybe we could have set up centers in different countries, maybe like some offices, and as well as also utilizing and leveraging the media, and as well as also building on the power of the youth, because we realize that we have got the largest population of people in the continent, in the globe. It's the youth. If we could leverage on the power of the youth, we can be able to have this information passed out. And then also we have to practicality and the practical bits of how we can really translate this information practically, because we really understand more when we have hands-on something. Most of the times, if we just speak about something and we do not have a touch, a feel at it, sometimes may not make much more impact than it would have if we have put the practical implications upon it. Say maybe we could also set up maybe like mini projects under this to different countries, and we have a different personnel following up at least the practical part, as well as also the online sessions, so that at least we can be able to enlarge these sessions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for your answer and in detailing actually quite some of the activity that already the volunteers of the Creative Society are doing and even more. And I think the application, going to people and talking to them and spreading that information directly, it's very important in every country. We don't have to do it. Not one country will do it for the other. There is not one population that will build that Creative Society for the other. We really have to do it together at the same moment from all of different places. So very important to your comments. So thank you very much for your answer. I would like to ask the same question to our pastor. And what do you think should be done to really spread that information about the Creative Society? What would you say to people that are maybe knowing the knowledge but not necessarily acting on it?
Just like the precurrent speaker, my colleague said, action sounds better. So as we speak about giving information, making people aware, it's better like if we had something like a hands-on. For example, I want to give you some scenario. I happen to work with a project in training youths in how to make candle wax, rewashable sanitary pads. And when we were trying to implement this, I saw many of the youths awakening. You see, most of them were now seeing something that was showing them that there can be a future. Because you see, in Uganda, particularly, poverty has taken over to a greater percentage. So when this project, when we were trying to implement youth how to make liquid soap, there are some who took it up with small resources. They are making and selling, trying to cope up with the situation, earning a living. Candle wax, sanitary pads. So I think as we give the information to the community, we need to have something in our training them on how to live and use the smallest income they can have. Yeah, just like our topic was all about loan slavery. People think that what we call capital is a large amount of money. So if we give the information with some small projects, this can open up their minds to know that even the least amount of money can be capital. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And again, like with technologies, with a smartphone, people now really can do a lot, really can share videos, their understandings, everything with a lot of people. Dear guest, Syntiha, Abito, can you please share your story? Also answer one question. What can you say to people who are still silent after watching the forum?
So what I can say, I actually talked to about 4 or 5 people about the Creative Society already, and I was telling them I'm going to be speaking on the international discussion. They're like, wow. So everyone was interested, to know what the Creative Society is, that you don't discriminate among people. You allow everyone to echo their voices. And that is what we need. That's what people want, to be given chances, to speak, to be given chances to access information. Knowing, some of the videos I've seen today, I didn't know that they can construct a house in 1 week. There are millions of people out there who don't know. So the Creative Society is a platform where we can all work together as a community, as a society, to change our families, to change our countries, to change the way, people live in terms of accessing resources. So myself, I'll be spreading the word, using my platform to spread the word, to make sure that everyone knows and hears about the Creative Society, that we can all come together actually, and us working together as a team, we can actually change the way we see things happening right now in the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your very kind words on this action that everybody can have, basically. And really, I think it's all about us knowing what is going on and knowing also what is the solution to get away from our comfort zone and step into maybe the unknown of discussing about a topic that is for future. So we shouldn't be afraid, and we should be actually super excited about bringing such a diversity, as you mentioned, of different ways to everybody that fit with what they use as a media to make sure we can reach as many people and educating them. So thank you very much for your answer on this very crucial question. So I would like to very deeply thank our guests today for their courage and really dedication to bring the truth to people. Your actions are crucial regarding the situation in which we are all together. You understood that changes should come from each and every single of us, that nobody will do it for us, because we are the people and we want to live. If you also want to be part, my dear viewers, of the creation of the planet's future, if you have watched the International Forum on the 7th of May or after that, the recording, and if you like to participate in one international discussion like we just had today, please contact us at info@creativesociety.com. Thank you very much and see you soon.
Thank you, dear guests. It was really wonderful to hear from you, to hear your opinion, to hear your understandings in this discussion, because every discussion is so valuable, because together from different perspectives we talk about one thing and we making it strong, we're making our understandings deep, and together we really enrich ourselves in every discussion, and it's a very important one about our future, about creative society. And we understand that creative society is possible. And dear viewers, if the information that you have heard today matters to you, and if you would like to be part of the Creative Society project, and would like to contribute to this greater good of all humanity, please take action immediately. Share this video to your social network. Start talking about this simple solution for the whole humanity. And once again, I would like to thank everyone who have participated in the preparation, interpretation, and broadcasting of this international discussion, of course, of the Global International Forum. Thank you so much, dear friends, for your action. And dear viewers, see you next time.